just joining us, then you're right on time for Tax 101. To take us through the implications of the digital economy on Nigerian tax revenue is Mr. Adeyemi Adediran. He's a senior manager, commercial practice group of the Andersen Tax Nigeria. Good day, Mr. Adediran. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
It's my pleasure to have you on Tax 101.
Yeah, thank you.
I have read a lot of your articles, and they are very interesting, mind-opening, thought-provoking, and I must say well done on educating us on the implications of some of the tax laws and recent tax happening in Nigeria. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
So I read your article on if Nigeria is ready for digital, ready to tax the digital economy. It was a very interesting write-up. What brought about that?
Well, the digital economy, like you said,
Yes,
has the potential of contributing to the economic development of Nigeria and expanding the GTB and bringing more tax revenue to the country. But digital economy, as it sounds, the good part of it is that it's going to create more jobs, it's going to improve the economy. But taxing the digital economy is a different ballgame altogether, because the tax laws, when they were drafted, didn't envisage that, okay, there will be transactions in Nigeria without the fiscal presence of a non-resident company, for instance.
Non-resident company. But before you go into all of that, first, I understand the non-resident companies, which are the foreign companies, such as technology servicing companies, consultancy, and turnkey service providers, do make profits within the Nigerian space. And by law, it states that any income derived from Nigerian space must be subject to the Nigerian tax. But there is a clause that they must have a physical presence, a fixed base, or a permanent establishment. How does this work?
Okay, the way the law is crafted is that non-resident companies are liable to tax, provided they have a permanent establishment or a fixed base, as you call it.
Yes.
Now, in the world of the digital economy, you don't have to have a physical presence in Nigeria to actually carry out business in Nigeria. So the question is, when there is no address, there is no physical, there are no employees, there is no office, how then do you begin to tax such business transactions when there is really nobody to hold? So that brings about a lot of challenges. And then what the FRS has done is to look at other provisional tax law, like Section 9 of the Company Income Tax Act, that says income derived from Nigeria will be liable to tax. So how that is going to pay out also depends on your ability to even collect the tax. You know, it's one thing to even establish that the tax has been derived from Nigeria. It's another thing to be able to collect it and to administer it. And you know, one of the principles of taxation is efficiency and effectiveness. So efficiency has to do that the cost of collecting the tax shouldn't outweigh the tax that you're collecting. So these are challenges that the tax authorities are looking into, and the laws also have to be updated to be able to track this income and to be able to tax them accordingly.
Wow, interesting. And this digital economy challenges on taxation, is it peculiar to Nigeria alone?
No, it's a global phenomenon. You know, the OECD issued guidance in how to tax digital economy. So there are some countries that have adopted different principles or approaches to tax income derived from the digital economy. For instance, some countries have put a threshold where transactions that you have across the internet that do not require the physical presence of the supplier, which is a particular threshold, is a concept they call significant economic presence. So even though you don't have a physical presence, as your activity generated what we call a significant economic presence, such that we begin to tax the income that is derived. Some have established a flat withholding tax rate on such transactions. But bringing that back home, even if you adopt that, you then need to also adopt strategies for collection, you know. And one thing you also want to avoid is the concept of double taxation. You know, where you have, when you consider the tax laws of the originating country vis-a-vis the Nigerian tax laws. It won't be good for the economy if the same income is taxed in two different jurisdictions. So it's important to have proper guidance or change the provisions of tax law to be able to address these issues.
Fantastic, I quite agree with you. But tackling these challenges, you said that some countries have actually adopted some measures and some tax laws to look into these challenges and see how they can put a threshold to know what triggers or at what point they start considering taxing such transactions. Do you think it's something that the Nigerian tax authority can adopt?
Yeah, in Nigeria, we still have a long way, because even before you talk about the digital economy, have we even finished subjecting the people with physical presence to tax? A large part of our GDP is accounted by the informal sector. The people in Ladipo market, the people in the doing businesses without any form of structure. So the first thing, even in expanding tax net, is to even develop ways to be able to tax the informal sector. And then when you focus on the digital economy, the most important thing is efficiency, because these businesses or these transactions are driven by technology.
Exactly.
So physically looking for all the tracking the income revenue, the income from this transaction may be a challenge to the tax authority.
Maybe a challenge because of the technology that comes with it.
Exactly.
But you may also agree that the transaction, digital transaction, or rather, let me just call it online transaction, so that everybody can understand what we are talking about. Online transaction is a growing trend, going by how easy it is for people to just carry out a business transaction online these days. You really don't need to physically interface with your clients or your buyers for you to transact a business. So it's a growing phenomenon. So there's a need for the tax authority to look into this. It's critical to the Nigerian tax revenue. So what do you advise? Like you said, something can be done. Do we need to amend our tax law so that when you say you don't have a fiscal presence in Nigeria, the law will still say you are still liable to tax regardless?
Well, there are certain provisions of the tax law that the tax authorities have relied on. Like I said earlier, Section 9 of the CIT Act says that if you're deriving income from Nigeria in the first case, you'll be liable to tax. But another section of the tax law also provides specific basis for taxing non-resident companies. So there are two things.
There are non-resident company with no
physical presence. So we shouldn't confuse the two. There are some online transactions taking place in Nigeria with the providers of such transactions resident in Nigeria. Ordinarily, those business owners should register for tax and account for the tax on that. Now, with respect to non-resident companies, the Nigerian tax authorities can look at what is being done globally, look at what the OECD, the recommendations of the OECD.
When you say OECD?
Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development. It actually guides the way businesses are taxed across different jurisdictions, and is made up of countries majorly in the European Union. And they've set out guidelines in tackling the taxation of digital economy in BEPS Section 1. Actually, to avoid the shifting of profit from one jurisdiction to another. So the tax authority can look at all that and formulate a appropriate guidance or see how they can amend the current laws to be able to effectively tax the digital economy.
In Nigeria.
In Nigeria, yeah.
Okay, so we'll be going on a short break. When we return, we'll be asking more questions about our own local online transactions. Now we are not talking about the online transaction that has a cross-border transaction, but we'll be looking into local transaction that takes place within Nigeria that should be subject to VAT, but that they are not paying any VAT. We'll be right back. This is Tax 101. You can join us you can join the conversation through our Twitter page at NG Tax 101 or send a short message to 080-901-101-101. We're going on a short break. We'll be right back.